Imagine spending nearly $500 billion on a single idea, not on a war, not on rebuilding a nation after disaster, but on a dream of clean, renewable energy that would power an entire country forever. That's exactly what Germany did, and the world watched, applauded, and called it a model for the future. But here's the thing nobody told you. It didn't go the way anyone planned. This is the story of the Energiewende, Germany's grand energy transformation, and how one of the most ambitious climate projects in human history became an economic cautionary tale that every country on Earth should study carefully. Let's go back to the year 2000. Germany, fresh off reunification, was riding high. The economy was strong, the people were optimistic, and the government made a bold move. They passed the Renewable Energy Sources Act, or the EEG, a law that would fundamentally rewire how Germany produced its power. The plan was elegant on paper. Germany would phase out nuclear energy, say goodbye to coal, and replace everything with solar panels, wind turbines, and clean alternatives. A minister at the time famously told citizens the whole thing would cost each household about €1 per month, roughly the price of a scoop of ice cream. That quote did not age well. Here's how the money works, because the numbers are staggering. Under the EEG, the German government guaranteed fixed premium prices for renewable electricity for 20 years. If you installed solar panels or a wind turbine, the government promised to buy your power at rates far above the market price, sometimes 5 times higher. It was a brilliant way to accelerate renewable adoption. But it created a financial commitment that grew faster than anyone anticipated. By 2013, former Environment Minister Peter Altmaier sounded the alarm. He said the total cost of legal commitments to support renewable energy alone would reach around €680 billion by 2022. Add in grid upgrades, research, backup power systems, and related costs. And a full analysis estimated the Energiewende had already run up a bill approaching €500 billion in direct costs just in the electricity sector. To put that in perspective, that's more than what the United States spent rebuilding after World War II, adjusted for today's dollars. And yet, electricity in Germany kept getting more expensive. By 2015, household electricity prices had more than doubled compared to 2000, from about 14 cents per kilowatt hour to nearly 29 cents. Germany's Federal Court of Auditors reviewed the program in 2019 and declared the spending was in, quote, extreme disproportion to the results. The program was being described publicly as expensive, chaotic, and unfair. So what went wrong? 3 things actually. First, the nuclear mistake. In 2011, Japan's Fukushima disaster spooked the German government into accelerating their nuclear phase-out. They shut down their safest, cleanest power plants almost overnight. Nuclear, which produces 0 carbon emissions, was gone, and the gap had to be filled by something. That something for years was coal and natural gas. Germany, a country trying to go green, ended up burning more lignite coal than before. Its carbon dioxide emissions remained stubbornly high, even as its electricity bill soared. Second, the Russia dependency trap. To cover the gap left by nuclear, Germany leaned heavily on cheap Russian natural gas. It was marketed internally as a safe, temporary bridge fuel. Then, in February 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine, and that bridge collapsed overnight. Germany suddenly had no cheap gas, no nuclear, and energy prices went through the roof. Households and businesses were hammered. Multiple energy-intensive manufacturers began reducing production or moving operations out of the country entirely. Third, The grid problem. Wind is strong in northern Germany. Industry and population are concentrated in the south. To actually move that clean power from where it's generated to where it's needed, Germany needed thousands of kilometers of new high-voltage transmission lines. Those lines weren't built fast enough, so the country was simultaneously paying wind farms to produce electricity that couldn't reach consumers, and then paying them again when they had to shut turbines down to prevent grid overload. In 2020 alone, that cost German consumers an estimated 4 billion euros in wasted energy management. Now, to be fair, and this is important, Germany isn't a complete failure story. By 2024, nearly 59% of Germany's electricity came from renewable sources. That's a real achievement. Carbon emissions fell to their lowest levels since the 1950s. The country built a genuine renewable energy industry with hundreds of thousands of jobs and world-leading expertise. But the price was enormous. German industrial electricity prices in 2024 sat at roughly 19 cents per kilowatt hour. In the United States, that same electricity cost about 8 cents. For German manufacturers, that's not just inconvenient, it's existential. Companies don't stay in countries where energy costs are more than double their competitors, and they haven't. So, what's the lesson here? Is Germany proof that green energy doesn't work? Not exactly. It's proof that the how matters just as much as the what. Germany invested heavily too early when solar and wind were still expensive. It shut down clean nuclear power while replacing it with dirty gas. It built energy dependency on a geopolitical adversary. And it underbuilt the grid infrastructure the whole system depended on. The dream wasn't wrong. The execution had critical, costly flaws. And now, as countries around the world plan their own energy transitions, Germany's $500 billion experiment stands as both an inspiration and a warning, a reminder that good intentions without good planning can be very, very expensive. Germany's story isn't over either. The country is now in the middle of a second, more urgent phase, trying to fix what went wrong the first time, build the grid it should have built 20 years ago, and restore industrial competitiveness before more companies leave for good. Whether it succeeds will shape Europe's economy for decades, but for the rest of the world, the clock is ticking. And Germany's lesson is simple, brutal, and absolutely worth learning before it costs you everything. Plan the transition before you fund it. Build the infrastructure before you need it. And never, ever make your economy dependent on a single supplier, especially one you can't trust.